around on the Xbox last night, and I was looking for something to play or something. I don't know. And he looks at the screen, and I have installed Dylan's copy of the new South Park game.
The Fractured Butthole.
And he looks at it, he's like, the fractured butthole. That's funny. And my wife turns, she's like, do you know why that's funny? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, okay, why? And he's like, well, because, like, it's fractured, but it's still whole. Like, it's a pun. Yeah, and we're like, no. The fractured butthole, Carter. Oh, that's even funnier.
See, I thought you were going to be able to be like, so my wife and I were able to go to sleep last night knowing our child is still young and innocent.
No. We wanted to sure to like smack that out of it, but he thought it was so funny. He's like the fractured butthole. It's like a joke. And I'm like, yes.
It is a joke.
Yes, it is. Which joke do you think it is?
That's amazing.
Because
I love what little kids think is funny too. Like their sense of humor is completely inexplainable.
No, I know, right?
Like I've noticed that with like my nephew who's like 9 now, but just over the past couple of years, like when they start discovering jokes and they tell you a joke, and the joke isn't a joke at all.
No,
but they think it's hilarious.
My kid makes up jokes, not as much anymore, but probably 2 years ago he'd make up jokes all the time, and they're just not funny.
Yeah, it's like they're not like they don't make any sense at all.
But they're the funniest thing.
Or
they've ever
dollars.
heard.
Oh yeah.
What?
Dollars.
See, that's a joke, and that's not funny. Not a good one.
So anyway, welcome to the Byte Me podcast, episode 57.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
I know, right?
Episode 57, right before the Christmas
This is our
break-ish.
last podcast before Christmas, but not the last podcast of the year.
Yeah, you guys are doing one next week.
If I can make this stuff work, yes, we are doing one next week.
I'm going to be in California.
Why can't Christmas be like New Year's Eve and then it just goes into the New Year? Why do we have to have this 1 week between it? Like either that or that should just be vacation for the world.
You need to speak to Jesus and ask him why he waited or he didn't wait just a week. So we could just do it all in one day and get it all over and done.
Did you get one of those like things that make you come out faster when you're a baby?
A C-section?
I'm not sure what he thinks shot. They are.
They induce it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. It looked like you were... The motion
stabbing.
You were making was not... That was how you get a baby
I was
to come
going to
out
shove
faster,
a spork in there. Pull them out.
Yeah, no.
Because anyway, that's what KFC invented the spork for.
You need to move to Europe where they just shut down between Christmas and New Year's.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it'd be real nice.
Is that kind of like
I used to
Hanukkah?
work for Volkswagen. It was awesome because Volkswagen just shut down, and they shut down their American offices too. And we're like, okay, great. They're like, oh, no. You still have to come to work. You only contract for Volkswagen. I'm like,
gross.
but there's no one to talk to, and there's no work to be done. They're like, yep, we'll still see you for 40 hours next week. I'm like, oh.
We should get Hanukkah and Christmas and New Year's all to work together, and we can just have 7 days?
Sure.
Just a 7-day festival.
I'm in
and not work for that amount
anyway,
of time.
Moral of the story is if you like where this podcast is going, I think you can expect more of this today.
Yeah, just go ahead and keep listening because it's going to get worse.
Meander its way through the next hour and a half.
Yep.
But we got stuff.
Yeah, we've got some stuff to go over. Mainly what we're going to cover this year, cover this week. Wow.
He talks for a living, folks.
Starting over.
Yeah.
Redo.
So this week we're going to go over our games of the year, both on different platforms and not
what games we just played.
Different years.
Yeah, games that came out this year. We'll talk about our favorites on that, and games that we just happened to play this year
and really
that are also our favorites.
Yeah, I was able to narrow it down to about 45.
Or maybe games that haven't even come out that we like playing a lot.
No, that's what we're going to talk about. Wait, what?
Yeah. See, this
games
is why
from the future.
Right? Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk
about.
Because we have
early access and game preview now. So we play games before they're even out.
I guess that's fair.
See?
Yeah.
They can't win awards because they're not out yet, right?
Sure. Well, I think it depends on the
I disagree with it, but I'm being sarcastic.
And I think it depends on actually the outlet. Some places did let PUBG win.
Yep. See, as you should.
True.
Yeah.
So we'll go over our games of the year. We'll talk a little bit about Xbox Gold versus PlayStation Plus. Are we just going to kind of compare the two?
Oh, no. I have statistics
argument?
and metrics and
interesting.
averages.
Cool. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about
What's the better value?
Some of our listeners and their Game of the Year picks, plus some questions, as well as a quick cheap free game update on... Ooh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, interesting. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I was trying to add something to the notes, too, but I can't because...
It's all right.
My iPad's still installing because I said later.
All right, so... by the way, I'm Adam West.
Oh, hey, I'm Cliff Johnson.
The Dylan.
Dylan is updating his iPad.
It's updated complete. Now I get to pick English.
Now we can play Hearthstone throughout the entire...
That's the fastest, I think, Apple update install I've ever seen. Oh, mine's done too. What?
I didn't start mine. I feel like a loser.
Famous last words,
Interesting.
Adam.
Wow.
You just jinxed yourself into a quick update.
Oh, wait, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong.
But now I can't
Maybe
hit
I had to
continue.
agree to it before it applied the update. Awesome.
You
Okay.
downloaded it.
Super fun. So anyway, we're going to start off with what we are playing, and I'll go first since I've only got one, and it has now become my entire life. It is not Mario Odyssey. It is Okami HD.
Okami.
And I love it.
I've been seeing a bunch of stuff about it. It looks real good.
Yeah, I think at this point I'm farther than I've ever been in the game.
Nice.
But it's really, really good. If you have a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, I highly recommend it just because that 4K bump is ridiculous. It's beautiful.
Nice.
Either way, though, on current-gen hardware, you just got to play it. The only, I think, real problem I've got with it, and it's not even a real problem, it's just how cameras worked in that era.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got two camera choices, which is kind of nice. One is zoomed in almost over the shoulder perspective, but the camera follows from behind,
Sure.
so you don't get a lot of freedom. You can still move the camera, but it'll always reset. Or you can zoom way out, and it's a very bird's eye view, almost like an isometric kind of view,
Sure.
but you can rotate the camera 100%, and it stays locked to wherever
Isn't
you
it
leave
so
it.
strange that was such a, like, cameras were just broken for like 10 years in video games, and then I think one day they're like, oh no, this is how they work.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty good ever since.
Pretty good.
Except for Ukulele.
So-
I heard that had pretty awful cameras.
Yeah. But if you've not played Okami, if you're a Zelda fan of any kind, play Okami.
So
It's
weird. Like,
so
the game
good.
is the most non-Zelda looking game I've ever seen, but that's cool.
But it's the quirky characters and the quirky weird side quests
Sure.
and the way it's written and just the way it plays. It's awesome. And it's actually based off of actual Japanese, mythology.
Oh, that's cool.
And stuff. So you actually learn a bit about
That's very cool. My kid
their
would
mythology
probably like
and
that
stuff.
game.
It's really cool.
Nice.
You play as Amaterasu?
The dog man.
The sun god.
Gesundheit.
Oh,
Sun
very
goddess.
nice.
Sun goddess.
Oh, very cool. So it's a
So,
girl
yeah.
dog you're playing as.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep,
I like
you're
that.
playing the sun goddess, and it's real good. Go play
That's
it.
definitely
It's
going to be on my
$20.
list. It's super long, though, so I don't know
Yeah,
when.
it's 37 hours is how long the beat had it rated at for just a normal kind of playthrough.
Wow, that's a long time. It's a real long time.
But if you think about that, that's a
Okay.
PS2 game with upwards of 60 hours of content if you're a completionist.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So-
Nice. Well,
That's what I'm playing.
that was good.
Yes, thank you. Who's
like
next?
Speaking of broken cameras, I tried Resident Evil 4.
Oh.
Because these are games that I've always wanted to play, and I never. I dabbled,
And that's one of the
like,
best ones.
Yeah, it's like everyone knows Resident Evil 4 is great, right? So I wanted to experience the survival horror genre, which is something I haven't really played a lot, and I'd really like to play. And I was thinking about getting like Evil Within, and we have
Sure.
Evil Within 2 now, which I've heard really good things about. But I kind of wanted to go back to where
It all started.
where did it?
Back to
Where's
the
the
beginning.
origin of this? And I mean, there's games before this, but I think Resident Evil 4 was a defining game, as we
Yeah.
know. It's unplayable now. It's
No.
really sad.
That's too bad.
And it kind of like, of course, if you play it enough, I'm sure you'll kind of get the hang of it. But I don't know if it's worth it. How frustrating it was, because if you've never played a Resident Evil game, you don't get to move and shoot at the same
Yeah.
time, which is something that we.
When did that finally go away?
I think that was. I think it was 5.
5 still is like that.
Is 5
Five's
still like that? That one.
I believe, because I played 5 a little bit, and I still like that, because I think that's
Oh,
part
yeah.
of
I
Resident
think
Evil.
that's
Like
part
that
of
is
it.
that's part of the game. So I don't know about 6. It might very well be that way too.
That's horrible.
I think 7 is very much a different game. Than
7, yeah.
than the typical Resident Evil game we think of, but. It was just so hard, and I went into the options to see if I could like adjust sensitivities and stuff, and I didn't see that option. So I'm gonna try. Might try it one more time, but it felt like there was a really bad like curve on the sensitivity of the controller. So you'd want to make such a small adjustment to shoot the guy in the head, and you'd be like, whoa, whoa, and I'm shooting nothing, and then I shoot him in the chest 3 times, and he finally dies, but I have like no health, and like that's not how that game's supposed to work. Like, and this is the starting sequence of the game,
man.
and I'm
That's
getting
too bad.
brutally
Is that on the train?
murdered. No, you take a Jeep into like the backwoods, and
can't
you get left there kind of, and then you're like, oh, there's all these like evil residents of this town, and I assume that's where the name came from. I don't know.
They named it after the Resident Evils in the 4th game.
Yeah, in the 4th game. That first 1, 2, and 3 new.
So, and there was 4 of them. 4 evil residents.
Became friends with them, had a cake.
Exactly. So I quickly turned that off. I also tried. I got the Skyrim Special Edition.
Nice.
Because
on
it was
Xbox, right?
yeah. I got it on Xbox, which I probably should have just got it on the Switch. But $20 was such a good price for that game, and I've been kind of playing that a little bit.
Is it a higher price on the Switch?
Yeah, it's
like a full price game.
What?
Which is annoying when it's on this sale for this platform with its 4K enhanced. Is that game 4K enhanced?
It's enhanced, but I don't know if it's 4K enhanced.
But whatever. Anyway, you can buy it for $20. Why can I buy it for $20 and then over here I can't? It's kind of silly.
Yeah.
I understand it was a sale, but even if it was like $40,
game pricing's weird though, man. Like,
you'll never win.
I mean, the Switch games cost $10 more automatically because of the cartridge.
If I paid $30 for it, I would have been happy.
Yeah.
But it's a cool game.
Had you played it previously?
Yeah, in 2012 when it came out, I think. Is that when it came out?
Yeah, thereabouts.
It's close enough. So that's fun. I kind of wanted to get back into that fantasy RPG, and it's fun. I don't know how long I'll end up playing it, if I'll put a lot of time back into it or not, but it was kind of fun to be running around as an orc again and hitting stuff with a mace.
Calls to me.
Yeah.
Calls to me.
I love it. So
I never got into the Elder Scrolls games, the first person kind of fantasy RPG stuff.
I've
got Skyrim, and I've played it, and it's good.
I skipped Oblivion. I played a lot of Morrowind, but I skipped Oblivion, which I hear is great, and I played
Oblivion
120 hours of Skyrim. So.
Yeah. I've heard some rumblings of some friends of mine and some of our peeps,
peeps, you say,
that we might play Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, yes,
and get into that a little bit.
I do own that, so so does my brother.
So that might be something that happens. I'm curious. I
had some complaints about it, but overall it was good.
And I assume it's probably gotten better in a
the
sense.
thing that I found really frustrating about it was, you're the chosen one. You're here to do this quest that only you can do. And for some reason, there's 45 people returning this quest to me right now, too.
Yeah.
It felt very like if you're going to do that kind of thing, then cut to a cutscene or cut to a
take
something,
you out of that
instead
for
of just
a second.
me and 45 other people just hanging out in this room going hey, so what are you here for, man? Are you interviewing for this job too?
It's kind of weird. It's like, why can't I just play a single player game? Why am I playing an MMO?
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird, but
it was fun though.
Played a lot of PUBG on the test server specifically.
Pub and the G.
A lot of the new map. I've played a lot of the new map now.
Do you like it?
I do like it. It's still very challenging. It's so different, as I think I've stated plenty of times before, but it's a very interesting variation of the game. You're very exposed a lot of the time when you're having to move from one settlement to another, as you have to kind of crawl up these rocky faces in the desert. So it's oh, there is an ant moving up that hill. I'm going to shoot him. So it's very much...
I will shoot that ant.
I'm going to put a big scope on and shoot that ant. But so that's much different than the crawling through the bushes and hiding behind the trees. It's very different. The urban firefights are kind of fun though, because there's a lot of that too. And some of the new weapons are kind of a fun addition as well. Very excited for it to finally hit version 1.
Just a few days.
Yeah. And
tomorrow even, I think.
Yeah, it should be any second now.
So yesterday, if you're listening to this.
But I also played on the old map on the test server quite a bit, so you're able to vault and
nice.
That too. But then you also notice, and you're running through some of these environments, and there's more trees than there used to be. There's more, so they're still improving that map and tweaking it, and they do make some nice improvements when you're running through this area, and you're oh, there's a lot more trees here. It's a lot fuller. So.
Have you, because I know they've rolled it out, I think, the kill cam and replay?
Yeah, I haven't fiddled with that at all,
okay.
But I heard my buddy that I was playing with, he was fiddling with it, I think, when he died or was one time, so I hadn't tried that, but that's interesting. It's going to be kind of cool to see because there are some crazy stuff that happens throughout that game. Where like, how did that happen? Where was that guy? Like,
did you see the video I posted to the Facebook
Yeah.
group?
Oh, yeah, the crazy
there were some
PUBG kills.
fun
Crazy.
kills in that game. Yeah.
like I haven't done anything too crazy yet, but there's some moments there. It's like, oh, that would have been cool to save that.
I've seen some just amazing. Like they'll drive a car and like land the car on a roof, and then they'll jump out of the roof and like kill people as they fall. Like
I'm not
There's too
quite
much
that
skill for me.
coordinated.
I'm not either,
yeah,
man.
we got a really interesting win last night. We were playing with one of our buddies, and for some reason, he decided he wanted to play the game with weapons that you usually don't deem worthy of playing PUBG with, like the lever-action Winchester rifle and the Tommy gun, which you can't put sights on them. Like they're like cowboy weapons, right? And I died kind of towards the end, and one of my our other guy died too. I think it was Josh playing with us that game, and then we had 2 left in the last couple guys, and then we lost our third guy, so it was just 1 on 2. And apparently everyone was on different teams, and he was able to like shoot the one guy, and then it was like 2 guys dueling behind a tree like this, and the one guy like jumped from one tree and was like obscured by a palm tree, and he just like whipped out and shot a random shot from his rifle. It was a headshot and just like won. And it was one of those moments where it was like, how did that happen? You just got so lucky.
That's cool.
But just like after throwing all these grenades out, and the guy finally makes his move, and he just like swings, reacts, and just pulls the trigger, and it's just like game over, chicken dinner. I was like, yeah, I won and I didn't do anything.
Nice. Have you picked it up for the Xbox yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I did play that a little bit. I don't remember if I talked about it too much.
Yeah, I'd actually like to talk about it just a smidge, just because of some of the stuff, because I have it too. I played it, not a ton, but my brother and I played maybe 4 or 5 games this weekend, and it's good. But the first of all, I should say that I'm terrible at it, flat out. Like my brother and I played duos for the first time. And I didn't know exactly how it worked. Like I didn't know if you could. Like I can never remember if once you knock someone down, if you can still kill them, or if you have to kill their partner first. You totally can still kill them.
Yeah, you can kill them.
It took me 10 rounds from a shotgun to kill someone who's down. Like I just couldn't hit
can't
them.
aim.
I'm like bam, right next to my brother's watching. My brother was dead. Like he got killed real early.
You had too much anxiety. You're like, I'm missing.
He's like, just shoot them. I'm like, I'm trying so hard, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
I finally killed them, and I think their partner killed me. But anyway. If you are concerned about the way that game plays, if you have a PC, buy that game on the PC. It's better there. If you don't have a PC and you have an Xbox and you and your buddies want to play PUBG, just buy it. It's super fun. Like I keep hearing all these things like, well,
this game doesn't belong on the Xbox,
or even more like, well, I watched a guy do, they had a frame rate counter on, and in the loading screen they're only getting like 15 frames a second, and then when they get in the airplane they're only getting like 17 frames a second, and then when they drop into the game it's only 25 frames a second. I'm like, first of all, the only counter that matters in any of those is the game.
Yeah,
Who
it doesn't
cares
matter
what the frame rate in the loading game is.
Just give it the game.
But for some people, it's only 10 frames a second in the loading screen. I'm like, what do you care? You're running around and punching people.
Right. Well, so and I was one of the ones who's like, well, when you're in the lobby and when you're in the plane, you've got this, and then when you're in there, it takes a while for it to build up to that solid 30, obviously, because so much is going on in the background. Yeah. And I obviously don't care about that initial stuff. Yeah. But it's like, it just makes me question if they just rush to get this out too quickly without
I guarantee
really.
You they did. The first patch for it comes out either today or tomorrow, and it's going to be their first round of performance stuff and bug fixing. I've played it for probably an hour. I mean, probably 2 hours,
right?
And it's fine. I've never had a frame rate drop that made it so I died. I've never had a rubber banding event that made it so I died.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of times where I'm terrible, and so I died. Yeah. It's harder to shoot people. The game plays way, 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 way slower than it does on the PC.
Slower, yeah.
Just in the like, I would say by the time the first circle closes on the PC, it's probably 50 or 60 people left.
Yeah,
roughly.
On the Xbox, it's often 80, 85.
Oh,
wow. It takes 2 or 3 circles to get down until you're in the top 20. Cool. So. But, the flip side, that makes for really interesting firefights where people can't shoot anything at the end. So,
yeah. And on the Xbox, a lot of it is driving around in cars at the end because they're so much harder to keep
shoot,
up with and shoot.
Right.
So, like, the meta is a little bit different.
It's a different game.
On the different systems.
But it's still really fun. If you've got 3 buddies or a buddy that play that game, it's $30. Buy it and play with them because you just won't be disappointed.
You'll have just as much fun. It's still a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's challenging, and I'm sure that it's going to change. I guarantee you that
the performance is only going to get better. Yeah. And what's a better way to tweak and test performance than to have millions of people playing the game every day and seeing how it goes? And you have plenty of people that are having fun doing that for you. And if you don't think it plays good, don't play it.
Yeah.
No one cares.
I think the thing is to
I don't
me,
care if you don't play it.
The frame rate is not ideal. Like, it would be better if it was faster, but it seems pretty solid to me. It's not 30-15, 30-15, 30-15. It seems to really kind of run at a solid 25. And I don't know. Dylan and I were talking about this the other day, and I'm a pretty firm believer that if frame rate counters didn't exist in video games, if there wasn't a way
complain about it.
Yeah, I think so much of it is, well, that's 25 frames a second instead of 30. Like, I don't believe there's a single person in this world. Like, can you tell the difference between 30 and 60? I can't, but I believe that there are people that can. Can you tell the difference between 25 and 30? Probably not.
Yeah, you can really, like, to me, it's like you can tell when a frame rate changes if you're watching it as it is changing. But if you put up a frame rate and said, what's that frame rate? There's zero way you're going to tell me what it is. Yeah. It's impossible that you're going to be able to tell me what frame rate something is without looking side by side with something. And if it's constant, if you had a 30 frames per second constant frame rate, it would not matter in the least.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
It's one of those, you've got nothing to complain about until you know you've got something to complain about.
60 feels probably intrinsically better, but I really believe it's
the game's going to be a little bit smoother.
Yeah, it's a feeling, not a... Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, it's fun. It's real fun. It's $30. Get it.
What else are you playing?
I finished Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Cool.
Which
Enjoyed it.
It's so good. Mm-hmm. Like, I was shocked at how good that game is. Like, I love killing Nazis. That was super, super fun. I would do that again, and I will do so in the new Colossus. But it's just good. But I was shocked at how good the story in that game is. That game has got a tremendous story.
Because it's like, I don't think anybody ever went, I'm going to play me some Wolfenstein for the story.
Right? And you could totally 100% play Wolfenstein for the story.
Right.
I mean, and I kind of did. I played that game with all sorts of cheat codes on. And so I was playing super easy mode, literally just mincing Nazis and really enjoying the story. So that game was great. I would really recommend. I mean, you can pick up Wolfenstein: The New Order for $10 or $15 all the time. Totally worth that.
Good to know.
I started 2 new games. I started playing Night in the Woods, which is...
Isn't it that weird little, like, cat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, May. You're an anthropomorphic cat.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. It's very much one of those kind of story games where you are a cat who went away to college for a couple years. You left your little, like, Rust Belt town, and you've come back and are trying to you dropped out of college and are trying to kind of figure out your place in the world. All of your friends have stayed in the small town, and life there is hard. Like, life is in a lot of kind of small towns in, Ohio and Pennsylvania. This is you're in a town where the factory shut down, and now there's rampant unemployment and a lot of those kind of problems that you see today. And all of your friends have kind of grown up around you. And you're trying to kind of figure out your place in that world, and it's very different. You do a lot, like, there's a lot of it is like every day you wake up and you do something that day. You just kind of walk downtown and talk to your friends, and at some point in time, someone will say, "Hey, do you want to go to band practice?" And you'll go to band practice, and it goes into like this very like Guitar Hero-esque kind of thing, or like you and your friend will go to the mall and you'll go hang out at the mall for a while, and then you go home and you go to bed and you wake up the next day, and that's how the story presents itself. And
you talk good.
It's really fun. I'm probably 3 hours into it. I think it's like an 8-hour game. It's beautiful. It's got tons of just little tiny details, like in the animation, that are really cool. They just released a free update to it called like the Autumn update, I want to say, that adds some new quests. I'm putting that in very much air quotes, but things to do. Like, you go to a different mall. I don't really know, but there's leaves falling everywhere, and there's squirrels, and just like the little details of that world are spectacular.
Because I'm pretty sure I've got it. It came in a Humble Bundle or something at some point. Maybe?
I don't think so, just because I had to buy it. Like, I've been looking at it. I've been wanting to play it for a very, very long time.
Okay.
And I had to purchase it. I got it off. I actually bought it off Humble last week because it was on sale. And Humble, for some reason, sent me, they're like, hey, you want $2? I'm like, of course I want $2. So it's normally 20. I picked it up for like
18?
14 after tax.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, that was really cool. And then I started playing Battlefront 2, the new Star Wars game, the single player of that. And I'm about probably halfway through that. I'm like probably 2.5 hours in. I think it's like 4 to 5. And again, the game is stunningly gorgeous. Like playing that on my giant, 4K HDR TV is.
You playing that on Xbox?
It's on my Xbox One X. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and the story is top notch. Like the game, like people really like. It's a very good possibility the story is going to go completely off the rails,
Right, and
from
you're just
here.
going to go, well, no wonder.
But for where I'm at right now, the story is maybe a little cliched, but very good. Unfortunately, that's the two things I can say about it that are really good. It's gorgeous and the story's fun. The gameplay is not great.
Is the gameplay, does it play similar to the first game?
Well, but I mean, there was no single player in the first game, so it's kind of
but
apples
I'm
and
talking
oranges.
like just straight up control scheme.
Yeah.
The way it controls.
Yeah, but I didn't have a problem with how the first one controlled.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem. Is I did not like the way the game handled.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way anything moved. I did not like it.
Like my biggest complaints about it are I don't think the guns feel good.
Well, you've got blasters.
But you do in Mass Effect too, and Mass Effect has great blasters. Like they feel like real guns that have real impact and real shooting. And these literally, I mean, they do. You're like, they're blasters. You're like, oh, they're a laser that goes pew 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 pew.
That's what they do.
And
they go pew pew.
Yeah,
pew, pew.
and that's about it.
I think that might be Star Wars' fault. Just in
I'm
general.
pretty sure.
They just don't feel great. And the gameplay feels very much like, okay, we've landed on this world. We've got to go to this checkpoint and kill all the bad guys that are there. And then we're going to run to the next checkpoint and kill all the bad guys that are there.
Super repetitive,
And
basic.
It's not even that it's repetitive. It's that it feels really gated. It's very much like a we're going to get somewhere.
Conquer
we're gonna,
this and move on.
Yeah, and the combat isn't very, like, I'm playing it on the, like, hey, so you just want to play the story mode of this game mode? And it's challenging. Like, you can't, like, to me, in that mode, I should be able to play that game as a complete badass and be able to, like, run out through the trees and, like, pew-pew stormtroopers and, like...
My laser pointer.
But you know what I mean? Like, I should
Right.
be able to play that as a, like, soup, because I can play Mass Effect that way. I can play Mass Effect as like, hey, hide behind some cover and then advance and then shoot some guys and then jump over this thing, and like the gameplay feels really dynamic. And this literally feels like I'm going to hide behind this tree and pew pew at these guys until they're all dead. Like, okay, wait for him to pop his head out. Pew. Okay, there's another one over there. Wait for him to pop his head out. Pew. And then I'm going to move up to another tree and do the same thing. And it just doesn't feel great. And the space battles are kind of the same way, where it's very much like, hey, there's 6 TIE fighters coming up. You need to kill those 6 TIE fighters. Okay, you've killed those 6 TIE fighters. Oh no, there's some more things, and it has that same repetitive feeling.
Right.
And then there's a scene where you play as Luke Skywalker, and you're the wimpiest Jedi in the entire world. You, like, the thing that Star Wars and every Star Wars game has ever told you is that if you're a Jedi, you can use your lightsaber to deflect pew-pews.
Yeah.
In this game, you can't. So
In every Star Wars game,
unless
you
I'm
can...
missing something 100%, you just get shot. And so I literally was killed by stormtroopers as Luke Skywalker. I'm like,
That
this is
doesn't happen.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. But then, like, you get past all the stormtroopers and you're going into this, like, cave, and there's all these bugs that attack you. So literally the entire second half of the thing is, I'm Luke Skywalker,
Swatting bugs.
Jedi exterminator. Like, and it lasts.
That game sounds amazing.
I've played that game. It's not.
They should make a Vermintide Star Wars
It's
game crossover.
really
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Like, you just sit around. I mean, there's all these just like flying bugs, and they're all the exact same flying bug, and you just
Nice.
and then you do a little force push, and it lasts a long time. So, like, the game, I mean, don't buy the game for the single player for $60. Like,
Oh, God, no.
Wait a year; it'll be on EA Access, and then it's probably worth, like this. Like I said, the story's great. The arc of getting to play as a bad guy for the first while is really cool, and like getting to see the other side. Like, I think people forget that the Empire isn't full of evil people the Empire is full of people that were raised on planets that the Empire controlled, and the Empire spent all their time telling them how awful the rebels were.
Yeah.
So it's not, Germans aren't bad people. They just lived in a world where the Nazis took over and told them horrible things about other people.
Right.
And so they believed them, that, people that lived in the Empire aren't bad. People that, stormtroopers aren't necessarily bad,
They're doing their job.
Yeah, it's kind of that. Who's the good guy? The people that tried to make the galaxy a better place and build a Death Star, or the people that blew up a bunch of construction workers. And that simplifies things, but it's interesting to see it from that side.
Right.
So.
All right, well, that's what we've been playing. If you're listening to us on iTunes or stuff, make sure you like us and review us and all that good stuff. The same thing we tell you every week.
Good
love
stuff.
Yeah, and if you're in Missouri, I know we say this too. If you're in Missouri listening to this, please email us or send us a message, because I'd like to get to know you.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of you, evidently.
Yeah, good Missouri people.
Yeah, don't really have any
news
this week.
Yeah, there might have been some we didn't even look.
Yeah, we don't really care.
There's one thing I want to talk about, but I also put in small bites because it's relevant to both of
all right.
news and small
we'll
bites.
just do it in small bites.
Okay. Well, then
we're saving a piece of news for small bites.
It's
coming at you.
Is the new small bite puzzle game?
No.
Oh,
okay.
Interesting.
So what we're doing this week is we're going to go over our games of the year, both on platform, like on each platform, or where we played it, and games that came out this year or games that we just played this year.
Yeah, I think that a lot of places, a lot of magazines, a lot of websites take this as a very serious exercise that involves argue. I mean, you hear IGN or
they
PC
go into
Gamer,
meetings and they
it's
have discussions.
meetings, and it's they tell that it's just like hell, it's arguing, and people wanted to die on certain hills, and that thing. We didn't do that.
No, we didn't. Basically, they're both wrong though, and I'm right.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Adam can.
I'll argue with you.
If Adam wants to be delusional about things, that's just
totally fine.
Yeah.
So how do we want to do this? Do we want to just each of us go, or do we want to each go by platform?
Let's go by platform.
Okay, cool. All right, let's start off with the Switch.
Should we
Which
go in order?
wins console of the year? Because it was the only one that came out.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I guess
You can't reboot a console. I'm not counting the Xbox One X. It's still just an Xbox
In that
One.
case, yes.
Yeah,
it was.
the console of the year. Fine,
I liked it.
Fine.
I've owned 2 of them. So
For the Outstanding Award in Innovation,
Yeah, there you
the
go.
award goes to the Switch.
there you
All
go.
right. All right, who wants to go
I'll
first
go
on
first.
this?
We can just go in order. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
I chose SteamWorld Dig 2 because
And I've
it
heard
is
lots of great things about it.
It's the only game on the Switch that I really enjoyed Mario, I really enjoyed Zelda, but SteamWorld Dig 2 is the only game that I would stop playing and go do something else, and I'm like, man, all I really want to do is go back and play more SteamWorld Dig 2. And it was the perfect length too, because the funny thing is it's at some point I stopped thinking that, and that's when the game ended. It's about 8 hours long, and that's the SteamWorld Dig 1 was only 4 hours long, 5 hours long, and that wasn't long enough. And SteamWorld Dig 2 was about 8, and that was absolutely perfect. So it's by far the game I've put the most time into on the Switch actually this year, and it was the one I enjoyed the very most.
Very cool. Dylan, you on the Switch?
I think this is when I had the toughest time picking a single game for, because you have Mario and you have Zelda and all these things. But
I should also mention that I did not pick a single game for any other category. So
yeah, but it came down to Splatoon 2 and Mario, which I think. Moving forward in Game Awards, it's I think multiplayer and single player kind of have to be separated sometimes because games like Splatoon don't have. There is a single player mode that's almost irrelevant to the game.
Yeah.
It is very multiplayer focused, but the multiplayer is great. And then Mario Odyssey doesn't really have that multiplayer element to it, but you sit down and you want to finish it. You want to collect all those power moons. And that's kind of what I was having trouble with is the game I really wanted to sit down and play through was Mario because there was something to play through.
Right.
Splatoon is not like that.
Well, I think that what you bring up, Josh actually in our Discord actually brought up a really good point is at some point, how do you compare Mario and PUBG? How do you decide which of those gets Game of the Year? Because they're both great.
Yeah.
And are both great for entirely different reasons. But how do you even compare those? They're both video games, but they're apples and oranges video games, And how do you compare Hellblade to those? How do you compare Skyrim to any of those? And how do you compare something like excuse me, like Destiny 2 or Rainbow Six Siege, which was released 2 years ago, but saw a huge amount of work this year. Like, can you count Rainbow Six Siege as a game from 2017?
Yeah, because I mean, it still has so much new content. So what do you call that new content? Is it the same game that came out 2 years ago, or is it?
Yep.
Is it a new game? Is it an
game like
ongoing
Rocket
game
League that hasn't had a ton of new content, but they've constantly been updating and adding new things to it, and adding new cars and adding new modes and adding new arenas, and it's still the exact same core game, but they've added a ton of crap to it.
Right. And I don't want to just add a bunch of new categories like best ongoing game, best game from 2 years ago that's even better today.
Best ongoing game was actually a thing at the Game Awards this year.
And I think that probably should be a category. I mean, I kind of was making fun of it, but like the idea that these games will be steadily evolving, I think that is something like Rainbow Six does, like Destiny does, like Overwatch does, where these games are continually supported, and that's what they're meant to do. It's not a game that comes out and they're like, oh, we need to fix this, and then they fix it, and then it's done. So I think a good place to start, though, is kind of separating multiplayer experiences and single-player experiences. That's a good place to start, but it is getting really hard to compare certain games.
I'm more of a multiplayer or single-player game person anyway. I've done the multiplayer thing. I like Destiny. I like Division. I played Final Fantasy 15. I tried WoW. I've got Splatoon 2, but I've actually played more of the single player because I like working through stuff without having to
there's also
do that.
There's catharsis too. You finish something.
Well, and my problem is like I play game, like most of my gameplay is between 6:15 in the morning and 7 o'clock, and from like 9:45 to 11. Like most of my friends sleep then.
Right.
But I think single player experiences are always going to kind of take the. If there is a good single player, it's probably going to win out in these awards over the multiplayer game generally. And I did give an honorable mention here to SteamWorld Dig 2 because it was that game where like I finished it like as fast. I didn't play anything else until I finished SteamWorld Dig 2 over 2 or 3 days.
I still need to play that one.
I was very surprised how many games I played this year and how few I finished.
And I think
I'm trying to get better about that.
I don't think I've really finished. I've finished like 2 of the games that I've picked up. Here,
and that was actually kind of one thing that I really looked at my list is what games did I finish, because to me which actually means that most of the games on my list are actually very short.
But I think it's sometimes that's a good way to gauge like what really is a game of the year worthy. Is like, how did you actually play this game? Did you pick it up and play it until you were done? Like, did you keep coming back until you were done with it and ready to move on?
Right.
Because if you didn't, then that's probably not your game of the year.
Yeah,
seriously.
So,
my Switch game of the year is Zelda Breath of the Wild.
No surprise.
Yeah, I know, right? Now,
how many Joy-Cons did you break while playing it?
I didn't break any.
How many swords did you break while playing it?
Oh, I see what you're trying to do there. Yeah, it's not a good joke.
It was funny. I laughed.
And Zelda, it's one of those games where it's one of the ones that I haven't finished, but I mean, there's
you not?
No, I've not. That's
I really
the
thought
thing.
You did.
There's so much to it. Like,
have you beat the 3 legendary beasts?
I beat all 4 of them.
Oh, I thought there was only 3.
Yeah.
But you haven't beat Ganon.
No, they're
yet.
all 4 of them. I haven't gone to the last battle, basically.
Oh, weird. That's what I did with Skyrim.
He can't finish. Like what's that called?
Yeah.
Where you can't
finish-itis?
Yeah,
that's the one.
Something like that.
I did that with Skyrim, where I just like got so far into it, and then I'm like, I'm burned out on Skyrim. I put 120 hours into it, and I picked it up like 6 months later. And
you're like, I don't remember how this works.
And then I'm like, okay, so where do I go next? And I followed my next marker, and my next marker was literally the end guy.
Right.
And I'm like,
so
okay. 15 minutes later, I'm done.
Literally the last thing I've got to do. But I'm just still like, whenever I do pick it up, it's, I'm still finding shrines. I'm still finding endless Korok seeds. I'm upgrading armor. I'm doing all these weird wackadoodle side quests. There's just so much to do in it. Like,
I got $60 in gift cards yesterday. I'm really thinking about putting it towards that.
Yeah, so that is my Switch game of the year. The other closest second would probably be Mario Odyssey.
Good choice.
So,
nice.
I'm about a third of the way through that already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just I'm collecting when I'm not playing Okami.
Yeah, I need to play more of that because it's fun.
Next to the PlayStation 4. What you got?
I did not play a lot of PlayStation 4 games this year.
A lot.
Yeah. So to me, I kind of tied out between Destiny 2, which I really, really, really enjoyed for a short amount of time, and then kind of said, meh.
Right.
But I'm sure I'm going to go back to it. I'm just kind of waiting for content to catch up. The new DLC came out, and I want to try it, but not a lot. There's been a lot of kind of shakeups in Destiny 2 right now, too. Like, it's almost like I want to kind of just let it let it settle, and maybe I'll pick up Destiny 2.
It almost seems like right now, like the whole uproar about Destiny, the first one when it came out, crazy,
Yeah.
everybody's mad, and then they fixed it. This started off great, and now whatever they're doing in the last couple of weeks,
they've broken a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So I think I'm going to let Destiny kind of figure itself out. Maybe I'll pick that up again. And I've got so many other games to play right now that I don't need Destiny 2 to hurry itself. But I really, really, really enjoyed the story of that. Like, it was a good 15, 20 hours of just fun missions, and it's a great game to play online with friends. And
the story's really, really good.
I don't know if there's another game, not at least that I've played in a long time, that has as good of a feeling of playing that. Like, the guns in that game feel terrific.
Yeah.
The way you can move in that game feels terrific.
It's almost like there's no way you can say, I lost that fight because
you hit
or
cover
everything
so
feels
well,
weird.
and you can shoot so well, and the bad guys are so cool looking, and I love the feeling of like chucking a grenade and then shooting a dude, like picking off a couple guys with a sniper rifle and going in close and then meleeing it. Like, it all ties together so well. It's one of the very few games that I ever feel like, oh, I'm actually good at this.
Right.
But then my second choice would be Horizon Zero Dawn. Like that, I've only put maybe 10 hours into it. So I'm maybe a quarter of the way through it, maybe.
Right.
I do own it now, so I'm going to finish it up. It's striking.
I might have to borrow that from you when you're done.
It's so good, yeah.
Because I've not played it.
It's really good, and it looks amazing. And the story, what I've played of it, is incredible. And I love robot dinosaurs. And
who doesn't like robot
every
dinosaurs?
once in a while, I don't remember what they're called, but they're like these giant, like giraffe dinosaurs. And I mean, they're
Giraffosaurs.
They're not. They actually have a name in the game, but
it's like a Bronchiosaurus.
No, because they're called like tall ones or something. Because they don't seem as dinosaurs. They see them as actually that might be it. Actually, but I mean, the first time I remember hearing this just like thunk, 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 and I'm like, what is that? And then you come around this corner and there's this giraffe dinosaur that's like, I don't even know, 8 stories tall, 10 stories tall.
Crazy.
And you're just like, oh my God, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, I really want to try it.
It's just got really cool emergent stuff like that. I mean, it's scripted, but it feels cool.
Nice.
So it's a good game.
What about you?
Moments.
Yeah.
I realized I don't think I played a single exclusive title to the PS4 this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really didn't play PS4 much at all. And I kind of looked back and I was like, man, they didn't put out any games I really cared to play other than, I think, Horizon Zero Dawn, which is just something I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
But that's about the only game I was very interested in. And so for this, I picked Gang Beasts, which I think just released on PS4.
Yeah,
but I played it at PAX, and that was enough to say this is my PS4 game of the year. It's also on PC, and I've played it there, but I played it with an Xbox controller. Right. So, I mean, I'm putting it into PS4 because I think that's the prime system to play. Because it's very much having a couple buddies on a couch in front of a TV playing Gang Beasts. That's how this game's meant to be played, and it was just so much fun the times I have played this over the past year. So that was a pretty easy choice.
It's an amazing game. And it's so fun.
There's not much to it.
Wait, did we play that?
Yeah, it's that wrestling,
that weird,
fighting, bags of sand game.
Yeah, sandbag guy people.
I don't know. They stumbled onto something. Like, that was the happiest accident or something.
Yeah, that was fun.
Someone typed in something wrong in the code, I assume, and they
came
up
like,
with this crazy physics. And I'm like, this is funny. And they just stuck to it. Like, I don't know if this was someone's idea or an accident, but I'd kind of like to know because it's amazing.
It's a great game.
It's so much fun to play. Just go watch videos of it, even. Like, you don't even have to play this game. You can just watch people playing this game. And
you'll enjoy it.
Oh, it's so much fun. But actually playing it for the first time and playing it, it just feels so... It's like so hard to actually achieve what you're trying to do.
And when you figure it out, then you're like, it all clicks. Kind of.
Kind of.
You get the hang of it,
but the best part about it is you never feel like you've got everything figured out.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have an idea of what you're doing, but it's so hard to accomplish that because there's another sandbag man that's like holding you down. Like
they
so
haven't
you're
figured out
trying
how
to
do
lift
anything.
them, but
unless
they're
it's Vicky,
trying
in which
not
case
to be.
she's viciously headbutting you.
Yeah. The flying headbutts. Yeah, and there's a different style. Are you the hider? Are you the headbutter? Or are you the I'm going to toss you out of this ring? Like
into lava.
So, Gang Beasts.
Good.
Right.
I agree.
My PS4 game was kind of an exclusive to PS4. It did come out on PC, but it was PC and PS4.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah.
So that And again, it's one of those, I haven't finished it, but only because of that weird game-breaking boss fight that I got into. And I can't believe I'm picking that as my game of the year because it has that one thing in it, which I know they fixed. I just haven't had the
back to it yet.
heart to bring it back because it's such an emotional game and so powerful. It's really good. And I remember you looked at it at first and you were like, I don't know, it doesn't look like my kind of game. And I thought it was going to be a different kind of game than it actually turned out being because I thought it was going to be very God of War-ish.
See, and to me, it looked very like Souls-esque. Like I thought there was going to be a Souls-like, and I'm like, that doesn't look fun at all. Like it just looked like terrible beast after beast after beast, and having to counter and block and roll and counter and block and roll just over and over and over again. And
that
it's
that is the one pain in the ass kind of part of the game for me is the combat, just because it's so simple.
Yeah.
But there's so much of it, at least in terms of each encounter. There's not a lot of encounters, but some of those encounters go on for a solid 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Which, with a limited move set that you've got, it kind of hurts your thumb because you're hitting the same thing over and over again. But again, the story, the way it looks, the sound design in that game is unlike anything you've ever heard. So if you've never played it, definitely pick it up. And I want to say that Ninja Theory kind of was like, they made a profit on this game and kind of proved that you don't have to have these gigantic, crazy AAA experiences to have a true AAA game, because this is not, for all intents and purposes, a AAA game. But it's presented as one. It doesn't cost as much, but it's presented as one and presented by a AAA studio. Yeah. It does great stuff. So check it out. It's fantastic.
I would love to see more like AA games. Like Okami, I'm sure is amazing, but the thought of spending 60 hours in almost anything these days is just, that means that I'm going to play 10 hours a game and probably not finish it. And so I'm a big fan of games that run that 3 to 12 hour length, because that's finishable. I started Battlefront 2 2 days ago, and I'm 2.5 hours in, so that means I'll probably finish it by this weekend. Right. Well, Christmas maybe, but and that to me that's the length of a game I want to play.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. All right, up next, the Xbox.
And Xbox actually was the hardest for me because I played almost everything on my Xbox. And so it was tough for me to kind of narrow that down because I played so many games. But the two that I narrowed it down to were Rime, which is, I kind of forgot how much I liked Rime because I played it a while ago. But man, that game is absolutely incredible. It's coming out on the Switch, or it just came out on the Switch, which would be a great place to play it if you haven't.
I think it came out.
But just a fun environmental puzzle game that at first appears to have no story whatsoever, and then really stories real hard in the last hour. So if you're playing this game, you're like, what's going on? It's okay, just follow your fox friend for a while, and then you'll get the ending. And
it'll lead you to water.
Yeah, there's a very solid ending. I'm not going to tell you it's happy, but it's a really, really good ending. And it really wraps that game up. But I enjoyed the crap out of that game.
Which is funny because it didn't get terrible reviews. It didn't get bad reviews. It got very solid
mediocre.
Middle of the road reviews.
Like 65s to 75s. And to me, it deserved so much more than that. It was very, very fun.
Gotcha.
And then the other game is Tacoma, which is from Fulbright Studios, the folks that made Gone Home. And it's a walking simulator in a space station that is called Tacoma. And it's incredible. It's again, another one that you're like, there's a story that emerges as you're playing it, but the ending to that game is 100% different than the story you think you're getting during it.
Okay.
And it's just terrific. And go buy Tacoma because it didn't sell very well. And that makes me incredibly sad.
Right, because it's a great little studio.
It's a great studio.
Bunch of developers and people who work on that game.
Go buy Tacoma because it's just fun. And it's so it's deep to the level of when I was doing my playthrough, I picked up, I don't know, a bag of something or a box of something. I'm like, oh, it's got a QR code on it. That's interesting. And so I hit the QR code and I'm like, oh my God, those QR codes work. And so a streamer I follow was doing the same game. I'm like, hey, those QR codes actually work. And she literally QR coded everything in the game, and they were all different.
Oh, wow.
So every product that has a QR code has a different QR code and a different link in it. That's the level of detail in that game. It's terrific. So get Rime and Tacoma.
I want to play them both.
Yeah, so. I think you can get both of those probably for $50 together. So cheaper than a AAA game.
You know what rhymes with Tacoma?
Okay.
Aroma.
That is true.
Really the only word, I think.
Speaking of aroma, tell us about your Xbox game.
Oh, it stinks. Because
That's called a segue.
That was
unplanned and phenomenal.
No.
Because South Park: The Fractured Butthole is my Xbox Game of the Year because it was a great game. It was
It's a great game.
It was great. It was hilarious. It's everything a game should be. They took what they did with Stick of Truth and just kind of took it to the next level. I think at times it was a little wandering. Could have been, I think, condensed just slightly, but great twists at the end. And like the fractured butthole does mean something that is part of the game. Of course, it has a double meaning, maybe triple meaning.
Entendre,
an
you might say?
entendre, you might say.
If you could say it right. But yeah.
Entendre. But it was great. I mean, it was fun. It's fun to play kind of like an RPG that's not so serious. It's fun to have those mechanics in a game where you're farting on people and
You're
all
collecting
kinds of
poos.
other stuff. And I love the. I mean, I've always loved like the Coon and Friends story arc in the South Park. I think it's hilarious, and then they started tying it to like the DC versus Marvel franchises. So like they interjected that, and this is the way the kids have their own superheroes and those identities. Like I just think it's genius to. I mean, similar to the way that they played Stick of Truth within like the Lord of the Rings and fantasy, like. What are those kids doing? They're playing Harry Potter. Those kids suck. Kind of like that's funny, but then they switched it to the superheroes because that's what's happening now, and it's I can't say enough good things about it.
And I'm still playing.
I
through
still
it.
don't want to
It's a lot of
spoil
fun.
too much of the game.
That's on my list.
I know Cliff's on his way to playing the butthole. So
Phrasing.
I'm not the one playing it.
Right. My Xbox game, I talked about it earlier. So I've only had an Xbox officially for what, maybe a month?
Since the release
About
of
a month.
the Xbox One X.
AKA the Xbox.
The Xbox.
Yeah.
The XBOX.
So the games that I have played, I've played Assassin's Creed Origins, I've played Cuphead, I've played Super Lucky's Tale, which it's okay.
Did you buy that physical?
No, but a digital. It's okay. It's kind of wonky, but it's no. Yeah.
As 3D platformers are.
Yeah.
Especially one. Was that made by Rare?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because it sure looks like it.
Yeah.
And I've got Gears 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Gears 4 is real good. But I went ahead and picked Okami as my game for the Xbox just because I'm calling it my this year game because the remaster
That is
100%
fair.
Yeah, it came out, and I have officially put more hours into that than I have any of my other games right now on the Xbox, and it's beautiful. It's stunning. The story's great. Everything holds up from, 11 years ago, 12 years ago when that game was very first released.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah, that's my game of the year, period.
Quick question.
Or at least on the Xbox.
Shadow of Colossus, because they're remaking that, and that's something I'm really
Comes out
interested
in February,
to play.
yeah.
Are they? Is that like a? Is that they like massively rebooted it?
Yes.
Or
It's
is
a complete
okay.
reboot, restructure of the entire game because they did remaster it once.
Right. That's
And
kind of.
it's okay.
I was hoping you were going to say yes, because I don't really want to just play a like repolished Shadow of the Colossus. I want to play like
It's all new, everything.
because that's a game I've always
same
kind of been
typical
interested to play.
stuff for sure. I
Right,
imagine,
but it's-
like it's from the ground up. Everything's
Okay,
been
that's-
redone for
Yeah.
current.
A
gen
lot
stuff.
of what that game problematically had was bad controls.
Yeah,
So I hear they're redoing all the
that's
controls.
what kind of why I was hoping, because I didn't really look into it because I don't know. I never played it before, so it's something I really want to.
Yeah, same. It's one of those games that I just missed.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd like to see it.
All right, up next we're going to move over to PCs
I picked like 8.
because you only have like 1,643 games.
I need to check, but I think I'm over 1,000 total. Like on Steam, I'm
you
at
have a
like
problem,
over
sir.
700. But so I picked Thimbleweed Park, which is a fantastic adventure game. I loved it so much.
Which I've been seeing that pop up on other.
It got released on the
places.
Switch. It got
Yeah.
released on iOS. It's everywhere now.
Oh, yeah, iOS too. Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually out on the Switch yet, but it's coming soon. That'll be great on the
I think
Switch.
it is out on Switch.
Yeah, it's just a terrific game. If you like old school adventure games, that's one to get. Nidhogg 2, which we've all talked about, which is
So much fun.
spectacular. Yeah,
So good.
just weird sword fighting. It's terrific.
And when you look at it compared to the original one, the first one, I'm just
So
like,
different.
what?
Yeah, the original one still really holds up though.
Yeah.
It's just different. But that game's super fun and has a Seattle level. Gang Beast, which Dylan already talked about, which was great, and What Remains of Edith Finch, which was one of my very favorite walking simulators of this year. Super. I mean, just terrific story, terrific gameplay. 3 hours long. You can play. I played it in a single sitting. I think you played it in a single sitting.
I think I played it in 2.
Yeah.
Mainly because I think I got through one of the dream sequences or whatever, and I was like, that just messed me up.
Oh, the dream sequence with the baby, or the dream sequence with the kid who's kind of lost and works at the cannery.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, the cannery one just wrecked me. Good game.
It's rough.
Yeah, the game. Yeah, another game doesn't end happy, but it ends, and it's real good.
Exactly. Dylan, I think you and I are in agreement on this one on the PC.
Yeah, PUBG.
Yeah, PUBG.
The pubs and the G's.
It's hard to take anything away from this game right now with how much it is done and not being out yet. Like, it's being released tomorrow or so.
Crazy. We've been playing a game for 9 months now. It's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me how it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's a thing now.
Yeah, and it's had a ripple through just game
everything.
culture.
Yeah,
So,
and when it came out, it didn't just show up and people were like curious about it. It showed up and people were all over it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, it was 3 million, then 5 million, then 10 million, and then people have been playing and playing and playing, and it's overtaken so many. Like, I remember when it first hit the most concurrent players on Steam, and it beat out Dota.
Yeah, like it's hard to deny a game like that acknowledgement in this category. So, even as a best overall,
as of November, that game sold 20 million copies.
That's insane.
That's a month ago.
Yeah,
it's already sold, I think, over 1 million on the Xbox.
Wow.
This is like the game we play every night now. Like, we have a squad of 4 every single night for 2 hours, and we play
crazy.
this. So it's kind of just changed the way a lot of people play games. I think it's just like that's what we.
Well, it's
play,
a game too that I don't think people realize that you can play 4-player really, really casually too.
Yeah.
Like, that can be a game that you almost play in the background. Like, if you just want to hang out with some buds.
Yeah, it's
like,
fun.
Oh, really?
Just chat and.
I think that's why I haven't delved into the multiplayer on that so much, or the co-op so much, because I'm always worried, like, I'm going to be that guy that just totally screws up.
Oh, yeah. No, just get in there with us. You'll just start winning.
I mean, the thing is like, the reason it works is because, I mean, if you think about that game, like, if a round's 20 minutes long, you spend 15 minutes of that round just, like, hanging out. Like, running.
Yeah, I mean, the fighting is very small,
Yeah.
really. If you play a 20-minute game, 2 minutes of that
It's
is
crazy
probably
that
fighting.
if you're playing in a squad, you can win a chicken dinner and never kill anyone. Pretty easy.
I'd be into that.
Yeah.
Because I still haven't gotten a chicken dinner. I've come close. So
I got number 9 in Fortnite the other day.
Yeah.
But so PUBG is one of my PC picks of the year just because I played that a whole lot. Thank you, Vinny. And my other pick for Game of the Year on PC, which it didn't come out this past year, did it?
It came out in 2015, I think, actually.
Is it that old?
I think so.
What?
Maybe 2016.
So Abzu.
Yeah, which is terrific.
Yeah, I played that before I even played Journey.
2016, actually, late 2016.
Okay. I
August.
played that before I played Journey, which Journey is along the same lines of where it's like, it's just or if you've ever played Flower, it's kind of like that, where you're just kind of going around and you're doing these things. You can't die. You don't get hurt. There's none of that weird stuff.
You might be a robot cat.
You might be a robot cat?
Yeah. In that game?
In
Abzu?
a robot cat?
Yeah, I think you're a cat.
How did I miss that?
I don't know. It also has the best soundtrack of everything
Easily
ever.
the best soundtrack.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you haven't played Abzu, it's on every platform now.
And it's beautiful.
Is it coming to Switch?
Oh, it should. God, it should. But not that I've heard. That'd be incredible. Such a good game.
But I know it's
Such a good game.
all over the place.
Yeah.
So there is that. And now for our overall Game of the Year pick.
Yay, Monks Tacoma.
No build-up.
Get it out.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah. Love that
Really,
game.
that's your Game of the Year?
It was, and I looked at it really, to me, for like what game I found like most emotionally impactful.
Okay.
And Tacoma was very, like, it said a lot of things. It makes you think about a lot of things that I guarantee you've never thought of before.
Okay. I'll have to play it. I need to play it.
It's also very, like, I mean, it's like its characters are incredibly inclusive. It has a very wide range of people and races and genders, and it's made in Portland. Like,
Right.
it's a very Portland game.
Yeah, right, totally.
But I can really appreciate that in gaming when a lot of, a huge amount of game protagonists are just white dudes. Like,
Right.
it was, it's different than that. So,
Cool.
But it's just a great game too.
Delan?
PUBG.
PUBG.
The pubs and the G's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the same reasons we just talked
Yeah,
about.
it's the best.
Now, so this is one of those questions. It's that question that I had about, the actual Game Awards. Do you award a game for itself being a great game and the way it plays and the way it works and the way it looks and that experience, or do you award it for its cultural impact?
Yeah.
Or both?
I don't think it matters. I mean, I think it's, like I said,
it's the mechanic that really made a cultural impact. It's this new idea for a game.
But I think the thing is like, if you really listen to what Dylan says when he talks about it too, it's a great game. I really like doing it. And man, every night me and my friends get together and we play PUBG, and it's changed the way that, like that game may not be emotionally impactful in the way that Tacoma is.
Yeah. Right.
But it's a game that's changed the way you approach games. Like,
It's almost like it's gone back to the way you used to play games back when it was just board games or card games and stuff, and people would sit around a table and get together. And then when Atari and Nintendo and all these just standalone single or two-player co-op right there in front of the screen, you got that with, maybe one-on-one or mostly by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of games kind of did.
Yeah.
That's where they went off the rails, and then it came back to this multiplayer thing, so it's way more social.
And I think that's smart. It kind of does have an old school feel to it because it's very much mechanically driven. This is not the Godfather of video games.
No.
Like, you're not coming here for a 3-act story that's going to send you in tears, but there is a huge amount of satisfaction when you do conquer this game and win it for the first time, and then every time after. If you win a game of PUBG, it feels awesome. It is always exciting down to the last moment. From dropping in, the game is exciting. It is a great social environment for you and your buddies to play in. Like, it has so much going on for it and that's why I pick it over every other game this year.
Very cool. My overall game, obviously, is Zelda. Just because I love Zelda.
He likes breaking
Clink, break.
And that's fine. You can make fun of me.
It's a great game.
It's a great
gorgeous.
game.
It's got really unique storytelling. It's got a really unique level design.
The best voice acting I've heard all year.
Yeah.
A lot of micromanaging.
That's okay.
Yeah. But so Zelda, I honestly, I want you to get it again so you can get back into it. And once you get
I think I just need to approach it differently next time. I think I was trying to play it like I play other RPGs, and I think that's wrong.
Oh, yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. So for our last little bit in each category, we're going to talk, or for each of us, we're going to talk about some of our favorite games that we played this past year that maybe didn't come out this year.
Yeah, this is like 80% of the games I play. And I think it's interesting we're going to look at some of the favorite games of some of our folks that hang out in our Discord with us too. And theirs are the same way. It's 80% games that you play in the past. And it's like, especially as a PC gamer, like I pick up stuff on Steam and it's cheap. My picks are, as to no one's surprise, Firewatch, which is probably in my top 3 games I've ever played. I love that game so much. Oxenfree, which if you could listen right now and travel back in the past, is free, but you can't. Sorry.
Right.
But Oxenfree is absolutely incredible. It has some of the most interesting narrative design that I've ever used, and it's not scary but spooky, and just very, very, very unique and amazing.
Oxenfree was really cool.
And Destiny, which
Destiny,
which kind of came out of nowhere and really surprised me. Like, I spent a lot of time playing that game this year. I'm probably over 100 hours of Destiny.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And
you only started playing that like
a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But when you play a game 8 hours a week, you can rack up some stuff real fast. And I tore through all that, and it was super fun. Played a bunch with my brother and played a bunch with Kevin, and it was it's a really good team.
Fun. Dylan, what was your game this year, or games?
Overwatch.
Damn, did Overwatch come out last year?
Yeah.
I guess it did. Wow.
Came out 2016?
Yeah.
And this is the game I would put overall if it had come out this year. I just think it's probably the most finely tuned game out there. It has everything going for it. It's going to be a game that stays for a long time. I'm curious if we're going to get an Overwatch 2 or if Overwatch is just going to keep being Overwatch and keep adding, and it just becomes this thing.
I don't think they'll ever make it 2.
Yeah, so.
But it's not for a long while.
I think Overwatch is here to stay. What they're doing with like the esports and what they're doing, always tweaking, always rebalancing, always adding new stuff all the time. It's a great game.
Yeah, I see Kevin play it once. He's started picking that up again.
With me.
He did?
You need to play with me.
Oh, sorry.
You.
Okay, fine. I'll do it.
It's been over a year I've been harping you on this.
Yeah, well, I finally got an Xbox, just like,
I said
ago.
I'd get it on PS4 with you. And now you have an Xbox and you still haven't gotten it.
I mean, anyway.
I'm game shaming you.
That's fine. I can take it.
Game shame.
I've been shamed for many a thing in my life, so that's fine.
I've been
I can
shamed
take that
for
one.
many moons.
So I played a lot of games this past year just because this kind of got me back into gaming harder core than I think ever in my life.
Same.
So I've actually got 2 of the games that I played this last year that did not come out this year. And I'm changing one of these. It's not what you see in the notes. So the first one is called Valiant Hearts: The Great War. I think that was a Ubisoft.
Yeah, it was their art studio,
like Montreal or something, or Ubisoft, whatever that studio was.
Yeah.
If you've not played this, it's a story about World War I, and it's just a really beautiful, heartbreaking story about.
It's real sad, and it's about World War I, but I hear it's terrific. It's got a 10 out of 10 on Steam.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. It's usually pretty cheap, too, I want to say. So if you've not played this, or if you've never heard of it, look it up, read about it, and just play this game.
$15.
Yeah, it's super good. Another game that I got to play this past year that did not come out this year was one of your PlayStation Plus games. It was one of the first ones after I got my PS4 Pro. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh, yeah. I still have not played that.
So it's another walking simulator. It's the first walking simulator that I played. And it's my favorite one. It is my favorite one. Edith Finch is going to be my second, very clearly. But everybody's gone to the Rapture. Everyone's gone to the Rapture. Whatever. I can't remember exactly.
Something in Rapture.
The story's fantastic. The music, the visuals, everything about it is incredible. So
I'm going to go add that to my games to play list.
You should play that. Did you get it on
Yeah, I've
your
got
PS4?
it. I always forget about it.
Okay. Yeah, play it. It's super cool. It's really good. The story's fantastic. And it's really chill, really relaxing.
Nice. Oh, I love that in a game.
So, yeah, those are our games of the year.
Yay, go
across
us.
the board. Look at that.
I know, right?
Games.
I think we wanted to do that last year, and none of us had actually played enough games to do it.
Right. We're like, we've had...
It's weird what happens when you podcast for a year.
Yeah. All right, so real quick bit of news before we get into our listeners' games of the year. Cliff, tell us about it.
All right. So what I was curious about, you always hear about what's the value of PlayStation Plus or Xbox, but that's not actually what I did. So everyone does that, if you got them for free, you got $1,200 worth of Xbox games this year. What I was curious about is which ones are objectively better. And it turns out that's actually very hard to do. So what I did is I wrote a script that goes out and grabs the Metacritic score for all of those games, and averages them to try and see, if you look at all these games, which one has the best score. And that only kind of works because a lot of these games didn't actually get enough reviews to get a Metacritic score. So in that case, I went and grabbed whatever reviews they did have. To get an actual Metacritic score, you have to have at least 4 reviews. And so some of these are based on 1 or 2 or whatever. But when you kind of do all the math, it tends not to influence it more than maybe a point or 2. So take this as what you will. All of the Xbox 360 games released this year have an average Metacritic score of 75.75, which is
not bad.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the definition of good. All of the Xbox games this year have Xbox One games have a Metacritic score of 78.2, which is actually slightly better. So that puts the average for Xbox releases at 76.9 or
which is
77.
Solid good.
Yeah, really solid middle of the road good. PlayStation is a little bit different because they release so many more games. And so if you look at PS3 games, the average PS3 game released for them was a 62.3. A lot of those weren't rated. A lot of them had only been rated by a couple things. A game called Alien Rage they put out had a 30, which doesn't help.
No.
I think these are the Vita games. So the Vita games they released had an average of 71.5.
Better, but not the best.
Most of these did not have an actual Metacritic score because they were only reviewed by a handful of people. So
the 5 people that have a Vita.
Yep, exactly.
I was one of them.
So 71.5 there. And then PS4 had an average of 76.0. which gives the average PS game that was released in PlayStation Plus a 71.1. So objectively across, if you're looking at just straight Xbox games with gold versus PS Plus, Xbox game with gold beats it by 6-7 points.
But if you just looked at current gen hardware only,
it's
Xbox
by about 2.
Yeah,
so
pretty even.
Really, really, really close. But I mean, like
that's interesting.
If you look at it, it was just kind of an interesting exercise.
Right.
But it's like anybody who tells you that there aren't any good games in either of those are wrong, because objectively averaged, they're good. They're all. I mean, they're the games. They're the games you would expect a place to give away for free.
Right.
They're games that aren't necessarily your AAA brand new. But I mean, in its defense, like PlayStation Plus gave away Metal Gear Solid 5, which is like probably one of the biggest games of last year.
And what, Just Cause 3 was another one. So it's like they give out some good stuff.
But what they're really giving out is really, really, really good, like AAA games that aren't the huge AAA games, or really, really, really good indie games. Like there are some terrific games that are going to get, 75 to 80.
Yeah.
So,
and think if the average is 75, you're getting a lot of bad games, because they do throw some stuff at you over the years.
Yeah.
But that means there's some stuff on the other side of that.
Yeah. It would have been actually really interesting to do like the median and the mean to figure out like the actual kind of where those fit, and it would give you a different number.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, like it's probably the best deal you're ever going to get for $60. I mean,
or if you get the PlayStation Plus membership right now, are they still having that $40?
I don't know. I got mine for 2 years for $80.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you just can't beat that deal. So
true.
It was just interesting to me.
All right. So now that we're done with all of our games of the year and talked about that, we're going to go to our listeners and some of their games of the year choices. And we've got a few to go through.
Yeah, not a ton, but
yeah, let's start off with Vinny.
Mr. Vinny.
Vinny.
Yeah, I'm just doing his voice normally.
Yeah.
Normal voice.
Normally Vinny.
He doesn't sound
I'm normal, Vinny.
Not at all. So Vinny's got some really good games in here.
Yeah.
So these dates that are there, is that when they were released?
That's when they were released.
Okay.
Just because I was trying to figure out which of these were this year and which were last. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at that. I'm just noticing all the different years.
Yeah.
So Vinny's got some here. Wolfenstein: The New Order. You just finished
Top
it.
shelf.
You loved it. And I can't believe that game's 3 years old.
Yeah, right.
Over 3
and
years
it
old.
looks terrific still.
That's cool. Dead by Daylight, which I didn't realize came out the day after my birthday last year.
Happy birthday to you last year, a day after.
And isn't there
It'll be
Dead by Daylight
2, I think. No,
I'm thinking Left 4 Dead.
No,
or
you're
Evil
thinking
Within,
Evil Within 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're thinking.
What's Dead by Daylight? Which one is that?
I have
It's
no
the
idea.
4v1.
It's the what?
It's the 4v1 that's not
Yep.
Friday the 13th, but they're essentially
gotcha.
the same game.
And then, Friday the 13th. The game.
I'm really curious if these 4v1s are ever going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
people
when you've
play
got in
these,
a world now with PUBG, it's like
right? But
when
I'm so interested in this kind of
V96.
game.
right.
Like when Evolve was getting teased, like I was so stoked for Evolve, and I just didn't do it. Like
and that's
it was
the one where you're
the Monster Hunter. Like that game, on paper, is one of the coolest games.
There's
ever
a couple
thought
more
of
them coming out, so maybe.
Yeah, none of them have really just stuck.
It's hard. Like I think it's
Friday
very
the 13th
hard to design
has
that
probably
game.
held on longer than anybody thought it would.
I'm shocked. I said I gave this game no credit, and it's still there. They're still putting out new stuff for it, so good for them.
On the opposite end of 4v1, we've got 1v99.
Yep.
Or however you want to do it.
1v1v1v1v1.
No,
the PUBGs.
PUBG came out tomorrow or yesterday if you're listening to this. But
we've been playing it since like March.
Yeah, early access in March. So it's super great, super fun. And again, thank you, Vinny, for that. He got that for me for my birthday because I had never played it and kept going back and forth on whether or not I would.
My dad bought that for me, so thanks, Dad.
Oh, yeah. And then one of Cliff's favorite games ever, Firewatch.
Love that game. That is probably the game that got me closest to crying ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you can spoil that game. I don't want to, but man, the thing that happens like 75% into that game gutted me. Absolutely.
It didn't gut me, but it definitely took my breath away.
You should watch my stream of that, man. Like I walk up that, I'm just like,
right. Thank you for that list, Vinny. We've got some questions that we'll come back to you on. Annie has got some games. Friday the 13th, again, the game came out this past year. Thimbleweed Park, one of your favorites,
choices. Yep.
Undertale, which is that
it's that weird like It's a fun game. I've played it
It's
too.
that RPG that's like
Weird.
procedural.
Oh, yeah.
Is it
It's not really procedural,
it,
but there's a bunch of different endings, and like the game really screws with you, and it's got this weird like bullet hell mechanic that you fight the bad guys in. It's just interesting. It's just interesting.
Is it the one made by the one guy with
Yeah.
the
Yep.
okay.
Super fun though.
Overwatch? Have you played Overwatch with Annie yet?
She only has it
No,
on the
she's a
PS4.
PS4.
Oh.
And I didn't get it for PS4 because you didn't. And that
Sorry,
was my
Annie.
deal.
We're terrible people.
So that's Adam's fault. I've already told her that.
Resident Evil 7?
I watched Adam play that.
Yes, you
He
did.
got real scared.
It's real
So
scary.
did I.
And one of my favorite games, actually, another
I didn't know
Ubisoft
that.
game.
Yeah.
Child of Light.
It's beautiful.
It's fantastic.
The game looks neat.
You may have that for free too. Like it was a Games with Gold game, I want to say, or a
So-
PS Plus game. It's real good.
I bought it on the PS4, started playing it, and literally like 3 months later, it was a PS Plus game.
It's really good.
Yeah. So super, super good. On to Shadow X.
Yeah, Josh,
Josh?
and that's your friend Tommy,
Yeah,
right?
Tommy 2 inches.
Yeah.
Wait, are these all the same person?
Yeah. No, it's
No,
two
two
different people.
different
These are
people.
his
Okay.
PUBG buddies.
We play every night.
Okay. What's their favorite game?
PUBG.
Yeah.
Because we play it every night.
Right.
Who's your fourth?
Well, there's like
You have
we
a
have
rotating fourth?
we have like 6 to 8 people on sometimes. So
Oh, wow.
Sometimes
Wow.
there's 2 games going, but one
How
of
do you
I
play
think
two games
Josh's
at the
friend.
same time?
Well, we're all like playing
4.
We
Yeah.
actually got into
Oh.
the same game once,
I'm like, how do you do that?
but yeah, we have one of Josh's buddies. I think is Dustin. I think is one of Josh's buddies,
Yeah.
and that's usually the core 4.
Yeah.
And then my other buddy Sean plays with us sometimes, and
Nice.
a couple other people. And
That's cool.
Jake, who's another one of Thomas and I buddies from our hometown. So
Very cool. Kevin, his list consists of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Excellent choice.
I agree with you
Played that on the
wholeheartedly
Wii.
on that. Was that?
Yeah, he played that on the Wii.
On the Wii U.
the Wii
No,
U.
whatever.
Close.
My brother's playing it on the Wii U. My brother's got 800 and some Korok seeds.
Dang.
Yeah, he's got almost all of them.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Also, Resident Evil 7, good choice. And Destiny 2, which we have played together.
I have 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that if you have never seen the 7-second video of Adam and I getting scared in Resident Evil 7, you should go to our YouTube
Which,
page.
did you get scared of the game or me jumping?
No, it was the game. It was
Okay,
that
okay.
big jump scare, and we both shrieked. Like,
Yeah. I
a
need
lot.
to dust off the old PSVR and jump back into that, I think.
Oof. Anyway,
it's probably
it's
gonna
hilarious to watch because Adam shrieks before I do, and
But almost at the same time.
almost at the same time. Except Adam's like an octave higher than I am.
Well, yeah.
It was good.
So, yeah, thank you for that, Kevin. And Joe Coleslaw has an honorable mention for the Crash trilogy.
Yeah, I think just because, man, they finally got that back. That's pretty cool.
Right. And it was funny. Our coworker Justin said, I really want to play Crash Bandicoot again sometime. Literally like 2 days before it came out. And I was
weird.
I'm like, you realize that game is literally coming out. The thing you just asked for is happening tomorrow or the next day. He's like, freaked out. What? Yeah. So I don't know if you ever
I
played
never
it.
really played these games.
The
Oh, they're
only
fun.
I haven't played Crash since the original, unless you count the game of Crash Bandicoot you play inside
Uncharted.
Uncharted 4. Yeah.
What?
Which is as
didn't know that?
terrible as 3D platformers.
Yeah.
Are
Like
nowadays.
you and your girlfriend, wife, whatever in the
Yeah.
game, sit down on the couch. She's
And
like, I want to play some Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
And you literally inside
Oh
the
my
game play
God.
Crash
Yeah.
Bandicoot.
I wish
And it's
you
like
could,
the same level that they were showing off in like all the demos.
like
for
that
the-
first level.
Yeah.
Oh, if you could see my eyes screaming right now, I'm so sad we couldn't stream this today
It's
because
fun.
my eyes were literally just the loudest they've
real
ever
fun.
been. Oh, that's fun. Thank you guys for that list of games, and thanks for listening to our show and stuff.
you're good
it's been a lot of
and
fun.
stuff.
Come hang out on our Discord. It's a good place.
Absolutely. All right, we got some questions to get through because what would an episode be without any questions?
Yes.
We
Questions!
got some from Mighty Weapon Man. That's new.
It is. That's
he's-
Is that our UK friend?
no, it's Edster Turbo.
And Chalupa Dios.
Yeah, Chalupa Dios. He
Man
likes
of
to
many
change his name.
He has many faces.
Yeah, the many
This
faces.
guy.
Yeah, right.
Crawdad's got one. Josh has got one for us, and we always started off with.
Vinny, how you doing? How you doing, Vinny?
I think he's doing well.
Yeah, presumably.
Vinny asks us if you guys were to make a game similar to a Telltale series, a narrative game where your choices kind of matter.
Yeah.
What other video game series would you base it off of? Hoping this one will get away from the typical God of War and Duke Nukemomancers. LMAO. Yeah. So what I would do is I would have Kratos and Duke get into the Walking Dead. No, I don't. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I'm not a huge Telltale
Yeah.
fan. I haven't played many of them, and the ones I have played have never really grabbed me. But people say they're great.
They're
Like,
good.
I mean, they're great stories. Like, it's a great, like, choose your own adventure book. Like,
Yeah.
there's no denying it that, but it's not much of a game in the sense of, like, you normally play a game, so.
I'm going to say I don't care what the story is, but the way I want to play this game is like how you can play You Don't Know Jack, where everyone like watches on their phone. And
you select something?
Because like I played Minecraft story mode with my kid, and it pops up the question. I'm like, B, choose B. B is obviously the choice. He's like, A. I'm like, but that's wrong.
Right.
And I think it'd be really fun to be able to like sit on the couch and play this game interactively with button pushing.
It's definitely fun to play with. These are fun to play with somebody.
With people.
Yeah.
I just, like it seems to me like it would be more fun, or maybe it would enable that gameplay better if you didn't have to count on the person actually with the controller to do the choosing.
Also be interesting if there were two people interacting simultaneously.
Oh, yeah.
So depending what you chose, there would be different outcomes for if you chose to do this and they chose to do this. You'd either get something done quicker, you would do two different things that would end up not getting the job done, or you would choose not to do anything and this would happen. So there'd be all like that would be an interesting element rather than I'm choosing this thing and this thing obviously will happen, or the obvious twist of it. Because sometimes it's like you try to save this guy, but then that person ends up dying and this person doesn't.
Right, and I think that's what my problem is kind of with these games, because I've only played the Walking Dead ones. I've not done the Tales from the Borderlands or anything like that. And my issue with it was it's like, well, I chose to save this guy, but he died anyway. So it's like I almost feel like even though they're posed as choose your own adventure, the only outcome that really changes is like at the end it's like how much they now trust you or don't trust you. Right. Like there's not you're still kind of funneled through to the same ending.
Yeah, I haven't played.
You still get to the same place. Different people are.
Yeah.
But
I've heard that Mixer is actually going to, you know how Mixer has the things where audience interaction where you'll actually be able to play a Telltale style game.
That'll be fun.
With your audience in Mixer, which would be a lot of fun. I wouldn't mind playing it that way. I think I'd enjoy that more.
The question is, what would we put into this type of game?
I would like to see them do another original one, like The Wolf Within.
Or The Wolf Among Us.
Wolf Among Us, sorry, yeah. Just because every time I see something like, I don't really want to play Batman. I don't really want to play, I think I'd rather see him do something new and different than
I haven't played that
stuff
yet,
another game into it. Like I played
really
Minecraft mode, and it was just kind of meh.
Okay.
So I'd like to see something new.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a Castlevania style story go through that.
With the new anime Castlevania style?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think
get
so.
behind
Just
that.
because I like that. I like the gothic kind of horror.
Yeah.
Horror.
'Cause I don't like saying horror on our show.
I know.
That's why
That's going to be a radio thing, because I've noticed a couple of other radio people say it the same way. It's so weird to me, because I've never heard, before I got here, I'm like, har. It sounds like a pirate.
I'm a pirate.
Sound like
who
the,
likes scary
from
movies. Har.
The Page Master. Do you know that movie?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
And they go into the horror. Har.
What game are you
I
playing?
went way back in time just now, because that was like one of my favorite movies when I was young. But
Harry Potter would be okay.
I mean,
even though we kind of know how that entire story ends.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing I want with one of these, and it's kind of how I feel about Star Wars too. Is I don't want Harry Potter. Like, wouldn't it be cool to do a Harry Potter one that wasn't about Ron and
it's about going to
Hermione
class.
and Harry? Yeah,
Well,
another character in that game. Like these weird, horrible things happen around them, and they like maybe can subtly influence things, but aren't like a main character.
So sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I always thought it'd be cool to like. Have you played Bully?
I have not.
I loved Bully. Bully was cool. Like, you're just a kid at school, and like you're doing like innocent kid things, like you're throwing like water balloons and stuff, or whatever you're doing. I can't remember exactly, but you're raising like debauchery in the school. But
you're raising heck.
Everyone got like there. It was in the news because they thought it was going to be a violent game in a school because the Rockstar made it and they made Grand Theft Auto, so obviously Bully's going to be bad. But it wasn't. It was like you're riding your bike, you're a kid, you're setting off the fire alarm, like you're doing. Like, how cool would that be? With Harry Potter, you're just you're the kid in Hufflepuff that no one cares about. Like, it's like, but like that's interesting. But that is cool. What Telltale did with The Walking Dead was it's not the Walking Dead storyline, but some of the characters from The Walking Dead do cross
in and out of it,
of that. So that's interesting. It's related to that world, but it's a different story.
Right.
However, I think doing God of War would be pretty cool because it.
Like,
No.
what if Kratos chose not to kill his family?
Well, yeah, I was wondering, like, because these are very good storytelling games. Like, is there a story within God of War?
There's a great story
maybe
in
it's
there.
not Kratos. Maybe it's the Titans. Maybe it's these other things interacting. Like, that might be cool. Or maybe, like, Mario is cool. Something where we don't usually get the full story. Like, even in Odyssey, there was more story than there usually is in Mario.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was, like, this wedding happening, and that was kind of a different twist to Mario. Usually you're just getting Peach. You're just finding Peach. But now Peach is going to get forcefully married by Bowser, and she's somehow kind of okay with it. Because she didn't, like, really try to do much about it. Like,
Right.
that's kind of
like
weird.
she can't just say no at the wedding and be done with
Like,
it.
she's
you have to
very,
be
apparently
saved.
she's very...
Marriage.
Marriage.
So it brings us together.
She's apparently very malleable. You can,
That's what I look for in a
mush her
woman.
into
Yeah.
a wife.
Good to know.
But I think there might be a fun, like, Mushroom Kingdom story that you could tell, like, through more narrative than you're normally given in a
Then
Mario
you're
game.
woohoos. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
Okay. Then we'd actually finally maybe get to hear Mario actually talk.
Yeah,
I get behind it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just Mario as a plumber.
And you just go around unplugging
plumb
toilets
stuff.
all day.
You plumb the stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Vinny. It's a lively
good.
conversation as always. All right, Josh, what games did you start in 2017, didn't finish, but totally will in 2018? Like,
Totally.
seriously, you swear you're going to finish? I commit to nothing.
I'm going to finish The Witcher 3.
You okay? Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably not the DLC, though.
I'm going to finish GTA 5. Like, I owe
I'd
that to
also
myself.
like to
I
finish
really
GTA 5.
need to finish that game.
Same. Yeah.
I'll
I have a
probably
list
finish
now.
maybe Zelda.
I just added Everybody's Gone to the Rapture to it, and it's now up to 30 games. So
Holy crap. Well, that game you can get through in 6 hours at the most.
perfect.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I'll probably finish Zelda. Maybe.
Probably.
Probably, maybe. I will.
It's good.
Crawdad wants to know, what's the worst injury you've had gaming? Him, his chair broke, and he hit his head on the desk.
It's terrible.
No stitches, but he bled like a champ. I didn't know champs were profuse bleeders,
Oh, yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
cool, all that hardy champion blood rolling through you. I don't think I've ever really hurt myself. I think I've punched a wall once and kind of maybe...
How very violent of you.
Yeah, mine's kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
Like, I think in my angsty teenage rage, like playing a fighting game, where you just, like, you get, like, you're so frustrated, but
You just
then,
have to
like, you
punch
finally,
someone?
like, get it. Like, there's that frustrated satisfaction. You're like, yeah. But when I was growing up, I had the smallest bedroom. Okay. And there was stuff in my bedroom, like a bed, which took up about half of the bedroom. Like, I'm talking like Harry Potter's cupboard under the stairs. Small.
Wow.
Like, is almost that small.
And he's
That's-
like 9 feet tall.
Right.
Like, I could touch both sides of my
At
room
4-year-old.
very, very easily. But I wouldn't always be in bed because I had like this loft bed because it would
Yeah, yeah.
open up a little bit of floor space so I could have a little bit more space. So sometimes I would be standing on the floor, which means I was very close to the television. And I just knuckled the television. And this is, mind you, before we had nice flat screen light TVs that you could probably
Jeez.
punch through.
Yeah,
So
this
I
is a big
punched
old
like a glass
tube
tube
CRT.
television.
Oh, man.
Like rounded, so it's probably even a little stronger than if it was flat. Just boom, whacked it.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Not
That hurt.
good.
That is actually the most common injury to teenage boys.
Is punching a TV?
Is boxers fractures.
Yeah.
Because they do stupid things like punch walls on TVs
Punch
and
walls,
stuff.
yeah.
Sorry about it. I was a full-grown adult when I
Because
did
that's
it.
how we apparently deal with things. We just punch
Yeah,
stuff.
we internalize our anger and
like
hit
punch
things.
drywall. Hopefully there's not a stud
Stud
behind
there.
it.
Right?
Yeah, it happens. I have never punched a door or a wall, but I do to this day
Bloody
get
thumbs.
I get repetitive stress on my my thumbs.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, especially when I'm playing Rocket League. Like if I play Rocket League for too many days in a row, I like my thumbs and my the tendon in my wrist hurts a lot.
That's where my issue comes in with Hellblade and Stream of Sacrifice is that one muscle. Oh, I can feel it right here just thinking about it. Yeah, oh, creepy.
So like mine's not a good injury, but it really hurts a lot.
Right. Thank you, Crawdad. What?
I get real bad headaches when I just play with just trash players. Stop
That's not
picking
really an
Hanzo.
injury.
Stop it.
All right, Mighty Wepa Man. And
the Weapon Man.
Chalupa Diaz, is that who this is?
Yeah, I don't know what a Weapon Man
It's-
is. I'm hoping this isn't like racist or
No,
something.
he said it was like a Puerto Rican's word for like getting after it. Like I think that's kind of what he meant. Like
I guess we'll see.
You're gonna go rage. Like
Either-
we're gonna like
either
kinda
that's
like
perfectly
that.
fine, or we just
Or we
I
just
don't know.
are going to get
All
a
of Puerto Rico.
strongly worded email.
But it's his fault if we
okay.
did.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll pass his address
We'll
on
direct
to you.
it
I
all
think I
onto
have
you.
it.
What 2 characters would you like to see as a surprise fighter in the next Smash Bros? One can be a sure thing, and the second can be a fighter that would never be in there, but would just be fun to throw in.
Okay.
So
Kratos and Duke.
So here's the problem. I've never played a Super Smash Bros., so I don't actually know what characters are in this game.
They're so fun.
Okay, so basically, don't think of anyone that's like Yoshi or Mario, like Ganon, Link, Star Fox. You got Pikachu. You have
you've got-
King Dedede.
So like literally
Kirby.
anyone who's ever
Basically,
been.
any first or sometime second-ish party
Snake
kind of game.
doesn't. You can't pick Snake.
What about
Snake's
Metroid?
included.
Samus,
Samus is in
Yep,
there.
You can play Samus, and you can play Zero Suit Samus. And you've got the kid from Earthbound.
Is Zero Suit
Ness.
Samus just a naked Samus?
Yeah,
Like she's wearing
Well,
Zero
she's
Suit.
wearing the tight
blue
tight body
spandexes.
thinger.
Sure.
And you could play the dude from Pikmin.
Olimar,
Olimar. Yeah, and then you've got
Ness and Luke,
yeah.
Marth and Ike from Fire Emblem.
You've got every
it's
so-
hard. It's hard.
Like literally.
So like, who would you add at this point? Like what about the Inklings?
Oh, that's a good choice.
I was kind of thinking. Yeah, I was thinking
yeah.
Splatoon.
I'd
Because
imagine
I think having ink cannons would be fun.
So this is not
Yeah.
a first party. I assume Kirby's in there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, Kirby's
in
there. Yeah.
How about
Meta Knight.
What about the giant ball of crap from Katamari?
That's a good one. Or the Pooh monster from Conker.
Or just Conquer?
Conker hasn't been in there.
No.
I would love to see Conker.
What about because wait, Conker came out on. Oh, what about Banjo Kazooie?
Banjo's,
Yeah, I'm surprised
that'd be
Banjo's
good.
not in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have a lot of rare?
No, I
In
don't
there?
think so.
Other than did Donkey Kong was made by Rare?
Yeah,
though.
Donkey Kong was in there, so that
So Donkey
that character
Kong.
But I
Other
mean,
than Donkey
only
Kong, I
the
don't-
later Donkey Kongs. I mean, it's
Yeah,
kinda
like
one of those.
N64 Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
What about I don't know, one of the cars from Rocket League? I don't know.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
Well, I
don't
think
know.
with the Switch now getting more other stuff involved, I wonder if we might see.
So, no,
that
no.
you can be a me.
I've
Right?
got it. So
Oh, yeah.
Or you can be the Wii Fit trainer. Right?
Yeah, you could be we could be
Fit-
the Wii
Wii
Fit,
Fit
trainer,
trainer.
a
which is
game
hilarious.
that is now out on Nintendo, which I believe makes this canon. I will be playing as Doom Guy.
That would be fantastic. You'd actually
Me in a
just see his
double barrel
face.
shotgun.
Yeah.
Well, in the original Doom, your health meter was actually his face, and you'd get more beat up depending on.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you do
Oh,
see his face.
Okay. What would be a second fighter that would just be thrown in? Well, actually, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty
everything
sure
we just
Doom
said-
Guy is
Doom
actually
Guy's for fun.
See, I think like Conker and Banjo Kazooie are things that we like. Those are things that we could.
Yeah, we
like,
can
those
theoretically
could-
see.
Like
Yeah.
those are characters that might be missing from this.
Yeah.
But I think Pooh Monster from Conker would be.
Either the critters from SteamWorld Dig, like the first robot,
Yeah.
or the second robot. I don't remember their names. They'd be good.
Rusty and Lady.
Lady Robot,
Lovely.
Mrs. Robot,
Mrs.
Miss Robot, Miss Robot. There you go.
I can't remember
Or
what
Ms.
it is.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
All right, that's it. That's for that's our questions. Thank you for those. Remember, if you want to send us a question, do it in Discord or Facebook or wherever. All
There's
that
a
stuff.
Discord channel for questions.
Yeah,
Makes it real easy
exactly.
for me.
Real easy.
Yeah.
All
Easy
right,
peasy,
real
lemon
quick.
squeezy.
In your free cheap games, Ubisoft right now, you can get a copy of Watch Dogs on PC, the original Watch Dogs,
Yep.
which is fantastic.
And
it's a lot of fun.
That also, you can also get not just Watch Dogs, but you can get, I don't know where it went, Black Flag.
yeah.
Assassin's Creed is still up. I think that goes through the 23rd. Actually, what
Now,
I
are
would,
these free to keep?
yeah, you just
Okay.
have to the Uplay client.
Yeah.
What I'd actually really recommend is following us on Twitter or maybe joining our Facebook group. It may not do you any good now, but if you like free games, or in Discord actually, like anytime I see a free game, I throw it in our Facebook group. I throw it on Twitter usually. I throw it on our Discord. Vinny's real good about finding them too. And so, I mean, like this week alone, I think there's probably been 5 or 6 games, but they've only been free for like 24 or 48 hours, so we
Right.
can't put them in the podcast. But
Yeah, there was one I can't remember I saw when it was up and it was gone, and I'm really wanted to
if you're a
grab it.
PC gamer, like especially if you're a PC gamer, we find them all the time. So hop in one of those places and you can get better access to these. We'll let you know about them.
Cool. Yeah. So there's that. Before we wrap it up, we did have a news thing that we have shifted to our small bites section.
Because it is a small bite.
Is it?
Yes.
Tell us all about
it is a mobile game.
Tell us
and
all about
apparently
the mobile
it's a pretty
game.
big deal. So Arena of Valor just got released in North America.
I've never heard of this.
It is the most played game in the world.
Really?
What?
It has more unique users, like twice as many unique users as Pokemon Go had at its height. It's a big deal in China, and Tencent makes it, which they have a stake in like everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a MOBA, mobile MOBA. I haven't played it yet, but I just kind of wanted to put this out here. This is a thing. I'm going to check it out to see what this is, because apparently more people play this than any other game in the world.
Really?
Every day, than the biggest games we play, put
It's
this
called
game.
Arena of Valor?
Arena of Valor. It
never
just
heard
got
of this
added to
game.
the App Store, I believe, today.
I'm not even finding it.
I have it downloaded on my phone right here.
Oh, nice. What kind of game is it?
It's a MOBA, so it's like
Oh,
a 5v5.
you already said that, sorry.
3-lane MOBA, very similar to League of Legends or Dota. I don't know how it plays yet. I haven't done it, but it's apparently huge.
Well,
Everybody plays it. That's
Had
not
no
in
idea.
North America because we didn't have it.
Interesting.
good to know. I've
and
actually
I-
still never really played a MOBA. I need to try
clicked
it.
on the
I
App
neither.
Store today, and it was advertised right on the page. So
Are you not finding it now? Because I'm not
it's
finding
right there.
it.
Boom! I click on games. It's literally a huge headline that says Arena of Valor and has a big picture of a sword
And
guy.
I just searched Arena of Valor, and it did not pop up.
Adam,
I know. I see it
Adam,
now.
look. Adam, look.
I've got it on my phone now. Be quiet. Just stop. Just stop.
But anyway,
Cool.
I thought that was interesting that there's a game that's just played by so many
Billions.
people. And it's now in North America, so
That's awesome.
all of us North Americans can play it.
It's a big
all of
game.
our North
All of
America,
us
all you
North
North
Americans.
Americans.
Because apparently we were the ones that couldn't.
That's
Well.
awesome. There's another mobile game that came out this week that's supposed to be amazing too, and I do not know what the name of it is, so I'm gonna have to do it for next week. But it starts with a G, and it's a great puzzle game, from what I understand.
Gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Call it gosh.
Glafluff.
Gloff,
All right.
floff.
I'll try and find that for next week. I'm gonna play it.
Well, there is that for our show this week. Episode 57 is done. Those were all the games that we have played this year that we liked, or maybe didn't like, but we said we would talk about them, so we did.
It's good.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for submitting your lists of your games of the year and all your questions. As always, you can find us online at bytemepodcast.com, B-Y-T-E me podcast.com. Same thing on all of our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Mixer,
So on,
Twitch,
so
blah,
forth.
blah, 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 blah. It's at
Yeah.
Byte Me
I'll
Podcast.
try and start streaming more after the
Yeah.
new year.
Now that we've had the swap around in our building over here, I'm
Yeah.
finding myself with a lot more free time.
Yeah. So it'll be
yeah.
good.
So.
It'll be real good.
All right, thanks for listening, and I'm going to be gone next week, so have a happy holiday and
Yeah.
say a safe New Year and all that stuff. And
Yeah. Dylan and I will
Happy,
be here.
happy stuff.
Yeah, Dylan and I'll be
good
here.
stuff.
We'll do something. I don't know. It might be kind of freeform. We might do a bunch of questions. I don't imagine there's going to be much news. So
Right.
maybe we'll do a Q&A episode, or I don't know. We'll just talk about games or something.
Yeah,
for
you
an
two
hour and a
figure it
half.
out. I'm going to be on vacation.
It'll be fine. We'll be good.
We'll just talk about Adam.
We'll just talk about Adam.
You've got way more than an hour and a half worth of content about me.
Right?
All right.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, see ya.
Bite me.
That's not very nice. It's the holidays.
Bite me.